I left a good night early. Lovely people. Great conversation. And somewhere around 9 o'clock, I started calculating how long I had to stay before I could leave without seeming rude. And the second I got home, closed the door, put the kettle on, I felt immediately better. It felt peaceful. And I've been trying to work out whether that's healing or just a very elegant form of avoidance. So here's why that question matters to me specifically. Because I've never, not once in my adult life, truly lived alone. I went from a 20-year marriage straight into 7 years of waiting for someone who was never quite ready to arrive. And before that, there was always a relationship. There's always someone orbiting my life, someone shaping my attention, my decisions, my emotional weather. This time, there's no one in the background. There's no emotional static, no waiting, no trying to hold the future together in theory. It's just me in this flat, this life. And for the first time in my life, my attention belongs entirely to me. So when I close that door and the quiet hits, the first thing I feel is, oh, home. And how I genuinely like it. And how good it feels. And how I'm not making the best of it, nor am I just filling time until something better comes along. I genuinely like my own company now. And that feeling still catches me off guard sometimes. Tbilisi attracts a certain kind of person. I noticed it quite quickly after I arrived. People starting over, figuring out what comes next. And to be fair, there are moments I genuinely love. A conversation that unexpectedly goes deep. The feeling of a city being alive around you. Meeting people who know nothing about your past and only experience who you are now. This place is full of people reinventing themselves. I recognize them immediately, and they recognize me. There's something about this city, the way it holds old and new simultaneously. All its contradictions, completely visible. That makes it easier somehow to be in the middle of becoming something. Like the city gives you permission to not be finished yet. And I think that's part of why I feel so at home here. Because I'm not finished yet either. What's strange is, this doesn't feel lonely to me. And I know that's hard to believe because from the outside, a woman living alone in a foreign city probably looks a certain way. But the truth is, this is the least emotionally crowded my life has ever felt. Because for years, my attention was always tangled up in someone. What they were feeling, whether they were pulling away, whether things were okay, whether the future we talked about was ever actually going to happen. And I got so used to living like that, I didn't realize how noisy it was. Now, the noise is gone. I think my nervous system is still adjusting to how quiet that feels. I used to think peace would feel euphoric, but mostly It just feels undramatic. And maybe that's why I protect my solitude like it's beachfront property. Spiritual practice has been part of my life for the last 15 years. Prayer, meditation, chanting, devotion. But looking back now, I don't think my attention was ever fully available to it, because emotionally, there was always someone else inside me too. Someone I loved, someone I was thinking about, waiting for, trying to understand. And I didn't realize how much energy that consumed until it stopped. And what's left underneath all that is surprisingly peaceful. Not empty, peaceful. There's still a part of me that occasionally wonders if this is how people quietly disappear from life, one comfortable evening at a time. That thought crosses my mind sometimes. A few weeks ago, someone asked me, "Don't you get lonely?" And what surprised me was how immediate my answer was. No, not really. And I watched confusion move across their face, because the expected answer was yes. A woman in a foreign city, after decades of relationships, must be lonely. That's the story. But it's not my story anymore. And I remember feeling something shift inside of me. Like I'd been introduced to myself properly for the very first time. Like, oh, this is who you are now. You're someone who is not lonely. You're someone who is no longer in fear of her own company. And you're someone who goes home at 9 o'clock completely guilt-free. That version of me feels more real than most of the versions I was trying to be before. So here's where I actually am. I have learned something real in this season of solitude. Not performative independence, not I don't need anyone, not some hyper-independent defense mechanism pretending to be enlightenment. I mean, something quieter than that, more grounded. I'm building a life here that genuinely feels like mine. My rhythms, my peace, my rituals, my attention, my home. And for the first time in my life, being alone doesn't feel like absence. It feels like presence. I'm not alone and waiting. I'm not alone and lacking. I'm alone and full. I don't even recognize the woman who used to fall apart at the thought of this. There's a question I'm not ready to answer yet, but I'm starting to feel it forming. I've learned to be alone. I've learned to be full alone. I've found devotion in the silence and the home that finally feels like mine. And somewhere underneath all of that, a quiet, different question is beginning to surface. Not when will someone choose me? Something much deeper than that. When the time comes, and I think it will come, can I let someone into this life without abandoning myself inside it again? Can love exist without me disappearing into it? I don't know yet, but I'm asking that question without fear underneath it. Just curiosity. And maybe that's the whole point of everything the last year has been.